Welcome to Road Bike Culture. I'm your guest, Gary Vasconi from Capo Cycling Apparel, and this is my business partner, Robert Carbone.
How long have you guys been doing Capo?
Capo's been in business for 15 years now. We started importing and distributing Italian cycling products in 2002 under Upland Sports Group, and then decided to build or develop our own brand in 2005.
So when you got into making cycling apparel, what was missing in the industry?
You know, it was more so in looking for the next, I guess, adventure or next opportunity for Rob and I. We both worked in the tech world for a little over 12 years. We had worked at 3 different technology companies together, and we were looking to go do something different. There was a lot of great things that we were able to take out of the technology industry with regards to business acumen, but we wanted to go chase something that we were super passionate about. We felt there was a huge void specifically in the apparel side for cycling.
What was the void that was there?
You know, in our opinion, that, you'd have the professional team kits. You know, in those days, obviously 15 or 20 years ago, they're a lot different than they are today. But if you were to buy one of those kits as an aftermarket product, they weren't very technical. They didn't last long. You weren't getting the same product as the pros got at that point in time. The stuff that was technical was more solid colors, a little bit more subtle, black short, red jersey. And what we were looking for is something that you were excited to wear. But it also had to work on the bike, and it also had to last. And really, 15 years ago, there was nothing like that, that you could really have something that's graphically intense or something that, that you were passionate to wear that worked on the bike that lasted. So that's kind of the evolution of it. Rob, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, the model's changed quite a bit, and where it was 15 years ago, as an importer or distributor, you were buying off of that catalog, that brand's catalog, and you didn't have an ability to change the designs for a particular market that you were responsible for. For us, the U.S. market. So if you're an importer or distributor, you're bringing in products that really don't work in the U.S. or, in our opinion, could be a lot better. So for us, being able to design and develop U.S.-specific products was a key, and that was something that was definitely missing.
So you said it's changed a lot in the last 15 years. Is it changing for the better?
I think it's probably changed more in the last 2 years than it has in the prior 13 that we've been doing it. Some of it extremely positive. The graphical side of the business and what is capable with regards to printing technologies is night and day from when we started. There's a lot of players. There's a low entry, into the marketplace to build cycling apparel. So it's more competitive than ever, but there is absolutely some evolution that's been positive within the industry, specifically on technology, because everybody's pushing the limits with regards to any kind of technical garment, whether it has to do with European football, with downhill skiing, with cycling, Formula One, MotoGP, all, and even in American sports, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, swimming, everybody wants that technical edge. So there's a lot of additional technologies that are available across the board that weren't available 15 years ago.
So when you say the technical edge, are we talking more compression or more aerodynamic, wind tunnel testing? The fibers are getting different that make it more aerodynamic?
Those are 2 of the key ones. The ones you mentioned, compression, obviously across every sport. In cycling, that's obviously for clothing that's worn tight or close to the skin, compression has quite a few advantages for a cyclist. Aerodynamics has obviously been a topic over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Anytime you're doing anything with time trials or anything that's against the clock, aerodynamics are important. And that translates from the pro peloton down to the club cyclist. I mean, you see a lot of people wearing, if you're wearing Lycra, you're probably wearing it tighter than you were maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Lightweight fabrics, too, are key. Everybody wants the most minimal weight. They want it to be aerodynamic. They want to be fast. So,
just to add to that real quick, what we've seen really in the last couple of years is more purpose-based clothing is what we call it. So you'll have this environment that's specifically geared towards race functionality, which was what Rob was talking about, super lightweight aerodynamic fabrics, single-piece speed suits to be utilized in road races, crits, or they're developing other stuff for time trials, but we have stuff for commuting or riding in low-light arenas, whether it be in the morning or at night. There's never enough time in the day for any of us, so we're always trying to squeak out as much time on the bike as we can. So we've introduced our speed luminescent products, which is textiles that illuminate when a headlight, any kind of light source hits it. You know, we've been doing this for 4 years now as a full product offering, or any type of foul weather layer. Numerous manufacturers are doing it, but that technology and the textiles have evolved that it acts and fits like a normal cycling garment, but it's going to keep the water or the wind off of you. So these purpose-based textiles and products that we are building and other manufacturers are building have drastically impacted the rider in a positive way. So the evolution has been unbelievable, really, in the last 3 to 5 years with the available technologies that have been put out there by the textile manufacturers.
And I think one more point is, you know, a lot of the consumers these days are looking for products that they can utilize 12 months out of the year. You know, a super lightweight jacket that's packable, that's also windproof, water resistant, that you can then layer with jerseys, base layers. Those types of things are the trends that we're seeing because you know, whether it's the dynamics that we see from the consumer or retail level all the way through up to the supply chain, you know, consumers I think are a lot smarter than they may have been, and they're catching on to these trends. And I think the capabilities that you know, brands such as ours have, and the factories that we work with, and the textile companies that you know, we source from.
The more and more you ride, there's things you notice depending on the environment you're in. If you're commuting to work, products that are going to give you more visibility, that are going to breathe better if you have a backpack on. Different types of riding, you know, obviously the dialogue right now is multi-surface, adventure, gravel. A lot of people that have been riding bikes for a long time took their road bikes into fire roads or dirt areas just because you know, you get bored of riding on the roads.
So how are you guys planning with the market getting so saturated in cycling apparel? How are you guys planning your next wave?
I think one of the biggest things that we do is we travel. We participate. We have a high-touch model where we go out and see the retailers, participate in the events, work with teams and clubs. I think if you don't understand the marketplace as a whole, it's very hard to put a plan of action together on where you're going. The market is fluid, it's dynamic, many changes. So I think having a multi-channel or media approach, which we do, where we have 75 to 100 of the top retailers in the nation that we're engaged with, that we do direct to consumer now, that we have inline related products, that we have custom related products, that we participate and sponsor large events within the U.S. We have our hands in a lot of different cookie jars, so there's a wealth of knowledge and history on interacting with these folks. So it gives us pretty clear direction on where we see the next marketplace and what we need, what resources we need to go do that. We are very focused on high-end Italian cycling wear. We don't focus on the triathlon market. We don't focus on the mountain bike market. You know, we are traditional road cyclists. Even though we ride in every different environment, we utilize the same products to go do that.
Now, I have one last question, which is from one of my subscribers named Xavier in Illinois, and he wanted to know about sock doping, sort of like the history of it, or how that got started, or even where that phrase came from. And I always remember going to the bike shops and seeing the first long pair of socks I saw was Capo. So I thought I'd ask you guys, what to you is the history of sock doping?
I mean, I think the word's relatively new versus when we came out with the first, what we called the Euro Cool Max. And we've told the story numerous times. And
Gary's idea, it wasn't mine.
He fought it the whole way. We were at DMT, so we were the importer and distributor for DMT shoes. Pataki had just come out with a new RSX Pataki model. And there was a huge print of Pataki winning a sprint, and he had these long socks on. And I'm scratching my head looking at Rob. I'm like, you know, all the socks were basically 6 centimeter at that time. I'm like, that's a badass look. He's a tall guy, super lean, and I'm like, we need to make some of these socks. We need to double it or even triple it. He's like, you're absolutely crazy. We're not going to sell one pair of these things. And we couldn't figure out what he had done. And we took a close-up and looked at the image. And what Alessandro had done, most of the socks in those days were foldovers. So it was a 6 centimeter foldover. He cut the double thing out to pull them up higher. So really, Alessandro Pataki was the guy that invented the Euro or the long sock. We were the first ones to produce it in the U.S. and brought it to market. And there was numerous people that laughed and said, this is the stupidest thing you know, is there a technical aspect? And hey, no, there's not. It's strictly, it is a fashion, it's a look. And it was one of the #1 sellers that we've ever had sock-wise. It basically had the colored stripe up the back with the Capo logo. Now, obviously, if you see it, Everybody makes a long sock. People are doing 15, 18 centimeter socks now. If you're making socks, you're making a long sock. Yes, I mean, I think that's one of the greatest things about the industry. I mean, obviously we've been doing it 15 years now. I think there's people that, you know, that they see the brand and like, oh, you know, that's an old school, high-end Italian brand. Well, it is and it isn't. Yes, it's built in Italy, but it's an American Italian brand. Italo Americano is what they call us. Yes, we've been doing it a little bit longer than some of the newer guys, but it's great to see a lot of new cyclists coming in, and they have new requirements. And obviously, we've seen all the stuff talked about other generations, but I think everything evolves and people get older and tastes change. So I think it's good for the industry to take a look at different verticals, different demographics, different geographics. It's healthy for the industry. So, you know, competition, you know, that's what's fun about it, whether it's on the bike or whether it's in business in general.
Thank you guys for coming on. I totally appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great
Really
to meet
great
you.
riding with you, actually, today. Well, I think that just about covers it. Capo Cycling Apparel. If you haven't checked them out, you've got to look at their stuff. It's very good and very technical. And until the next time, I hope to see you out there on the road.